Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the One Bitcoin Show. Today is September the 5th, 2018. Long-term thinking. Personal responsibility is the new counterculture. Did I forget to say something? What did I forget to say? It's right on the shirt. I wore this shirt coincidentally. I was planning on wearing it. My last shirt here in Spokane. Strong hand. Long-term thinking. All right, guys. So yeah. Check out the links below. Everything I talk about, it's linked below. DisruptMeister.com. All my old shows, everything. Fun times ahead. Today, I want to say tomorrow, I'm getting up early in the morning, flying back to Baltimore. The show will be late tomorrow night in Baltimore. And then Friday's show, 12:45 in the afternoon, Eastern time. That's 9:45 a.m. in Los Angeles, 5:45 p.m. in London on Friday. BTC Benny, Maximo of Venezuela, and Chris Black will be on the This Week in Bitcoin show on this very channel. I want to thank Zach Bandera for his $20 super chat yesterday. He sent it right when the show ended. I didn't have it was over by the time he sent it, so I wanted to say thanks at the start of this show. Zach, everyone, thank you for the support. Thank you for that $20 super chat, Zach. And if you guys want to do super chat, I'll answer your questions during this show. We're going to try to make this show go pretty fast. Speaking of yesterday's show real quick, I forgot to mention when I was talking about crypto conflation yesterday, to remind, the content, when content creators or whoever out there, when they're confusing Bitcoin, when they're conflating Bitcoin with all this other crypto nonsense, whether it be ICOs or altcoins, that you should point out that there's a big difference. You've got to be vocal about it, as I was on the video that I was talking about specifically, because the conflation, the crypto conflation is spreading. There's so many people who think Bitcoin is the same as the nonsense that's out there. And you can politely in the comment section, it only takes 1 second, and you can change people's minds. You can get them on the straight and narrow here, because the more people who get crypto conflated, the more people who are diversifying for the sake of diversification, who think Bitcoin is the same thing as an ICO, that they're just as risky, they're going to end up unhappy people. We're going to end up with more weak hands in the space and on the periphery of the space. And so, hey, we're here to get strong hands. We want people to understand the straight and narrow path that Bitcoin, it might seem boring to some people who are impulsive, but it's really not. A lot of cool things going on in Bitcoin. Well, speaking about it not being boring, right? Did you have a strong hand today? Were you wearing your strong hand t-shirt today? I mean, we have been, how many times? It's funny, I start to prep the show about an hour beforehand. That's when I send out the message. We're going to go live in an hour. And I see the prices in terms of fiat has gone down quite a bit since, I looked earlier in the day before I ate or whatever. And, yeah, it's like, this is funny. So many times right when I'm about to go on the air, there are these major fiat fluctuations. It's so funny. But that's the thing. We've been through this before. I know the fiat freaks are like, why is it going down $1,000 in a day? Even if you are newbies, like, this has happened like in the last year. I mean, do you have short-term memory problems? Are you smoking too much weed? Seriously, are you forgetting? We've been through this. It's going to happen again. Is your hand strong? I mean, that's the only question. People are asking, why is this happening? I mean, there's lots of fun floating around. We'll get to that in a second. I mean, it can happen for any reason. People like to sell so they get other people to sell so they get it for cheap. I don't know the logic behind it. And frankly, I don't care about the logic behind it, because I still have as much Bitcoin as I did the other day. As I did a second ago, 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. That's the way you got to think about it here. I mean, if you're into this to make fiat, then you're in the wrong field, okay? Because there are going to be days it goes up by 1,000. There are going to be, but days it goes down by 1,000. I've said this a million times. But another thing I've said is that after the year 2020, when a custodial account, when one of those bank, some of the FUD is about Goldman Sachs today or something like that. They're not having a trading desk, or I don't know, but they're still having their custodial account. Well, in the future, when someone like them or them gets hacked, if the price will go down by $5,000 in a day after, I'm talking about after the year 2020. So think of it that way. Well, it's not as scary as one of the future day drops when it goes down by $5,000 a day. Think of it that way. Time, you should have a different perspective on time. I've mentioned this in other videos. I'm not thinking like it's 2018 now, because I'm thinking, what will Adam of 2022 be thinking about this? And I'll just be laughing, just like when I look back at my videos from 2015 when it was $200, and I laugh at that too, about how people were panicking. Oh, it's going to go down to 160 or whatever. When it was 300, it's going to go down to 200. What shall I do? Again, so there'll be days worse than this, people, in terms of fiat. But who cares? Just try to get as much Bitcoin as possible. Don't get distracted. It's all crypto noise. It really is. And as I say, my hand's just as strong on days like this as on days that it goes up by, you got to keep it all in perspective. So pound that freaking like button, dudes. All right. Another reminder speaking about the future. So September 10th is that's Monday. That is Rosh Hashanah. I will not do a show. I just want to remind everyone that's one of the 2 days a year that there is no show here, because it is that day. I can do it right before Rosh Hashanah, right after Rosh Hashanah. I can't do it during Rosh Hashanah. And to remind everyone, again, people are, Adam's super religious. Adam isn't super religious. No, I wish I was more religious. Hopefully I will be in life in the future. But it's to remind the world. It's something every Jewish person can do. It's something every Jewish person can do to remind the world that they are a Jew. And that is what I am. Anyway, so what do we have here? So let's go back to yesterday's show again, talking about centralization. And Andreas Antonopoulos has a tweet about shapeshift and centralization. It is very interesting, though. Very disappointed that shapeshift is implementing know your customer. Just goes to show that any centralized entity will be pushed in that direction, which is why Lightning Network, atomic swaps, and decentralized exchanges are the only way to resist surveillance economics. All right. There's a lot to take from that. Okay. I think by now you guys got to get it, understand that decentralized is good. Centralized, you're gonna get a reminder in a second why it's another reminder why it's not good. Even if you're in cryptocurrency like Shapeshift is, if you're centralized, you're gonna get bonked one day. Okay, but he specifically brings up why Lightning Network, atomic swaps, and decentralized exchanges are only ways to resist the surveillance economics. Well, let's talk about. When he's talking about Lightning Network and atomic swaps, cross-chain atomic swaps. I get so excited when I hear about this stuff. People do not know about this. People would rather talk about, they'd rather want to know why the price went down by $1,000. It must be the 23-year anniversary of Cal Ripken playing in the 21-30 game when he tied Lou Gehrig's consecutive game record. That's just as important. Okay, Cal Ripken breaking Lou Gehrig, tying Lou Gehrig's streak 23 years ago. Yes, it was 23 years ago. Is just as important as the price. Okay, a bit of the fiat price, like Lightning Network and atomic swaps. So there's your read. That's why the Bitcoin price has obviously gone down in terms of fiat, because of what Cal Ripken did 23 years ago today. There you go. There's your answer for all you people that care about that kind of stuff, obviously. But for you people who have long-term thinking, Lightning Network on the way, this cross-chain atomic swaps, where we're not going to have to deal with the centralized shapeshift, where we can just turn the Bitcoin into Litecoin just like that. This is unprecedented. This is, very. I can't even think of the words. I can't even think of the adjective. I'm getting so freaking pumped about it. But revolutionary, changing the world type of stuff. And that's what we should, I mean, that's what we should be focusing on shows like this instead of like, oh, it's 66666 or 6666543. I mean, all right. So, yeah, get pumped about this I'm very interested to see when it's going to be easy for regular people to do cross-chain atomic swaps. I mean, you got all these altcoin freaks out there. They'll be easily able to change their Litecoin into Bitcoin. Like, yeah, all these people who want to send me some Litecoin. Yeah, send me the Litecoin. I'll turn it into Bitcoin before it gets to me. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's the long-term thinkers want. Okay, so Matt Odell adds to this whole going back to the centralization aspect of the shapeshift issue. The U.S. government will force all U.S.-based centralized entities to enforce KYC AML requirements. It is inevitable. It has always been inevitable. But now we have shapeshift to show as proof. They aren't even US-based, but they are centralized. So US government was still able to pressure them. Okay, I mean, that alone, you could say, well, that's sad. That's sad. No, I'm happy because this is bullish for Bitcoin because Bitcoin is not centralized. The US government got a lot of centralized entities they can play around with and force into doing KYC. They can't do that to Bitcoin. They can't do it to Bitcoin. So and people don't get that yet. They really don't understand this difference between decentralized and centralized. It's the long-term thinkers who are like, dude, this is so revolutionary. This that no one can stop Bitcoin. The U.S. government and everyone, the U.S. government is the most powerful entity ever, and perhaps it is. So yeah, they'll be able. Who knows what kind of havoc they're going to be able to wreak in the altcoin world. I mean, in the ICO world, oh my God, yeah, they'll be all KYC'd up the yin yang over there. But Bitcoin is a different animal. Again, we talked about crypto conflation yesterday. Bitcoin might be a cryptocurrency, but it ain't your ordinary it is the one. You know, it's not the same as Dogecoin. It's not the same as Ripple or these really central Tron. You know, the U.S. government will have its way with Tron and all these people eventually. But and that's why we don't play in that game. Bitcoin is the revolution. Bitcoin is the difference. And again, that's why you want to value your wealth. You want to get as many Bitcoin as possible instead of going mashugana over the frickin' price, the fiat price of Bitcoin. Yeah, I threw in a little Yiddish there. Pound that like button. And again, I encourage all of the Jewish content creators out there, all over YouTube, all over the world, be proud and loud that you are a Jew and take off on Rosh Hashanah. All right. Or just talk about it a lot. Talk about, because all these conspiracy people that you gotta say it proud. And maybe you're not proud. I don't know, baby. I like talking about it, as you all know by now. All right. So let's talk about somebody who's not Jewish. UK Bitcoin Master in the UK. This guy is awesome, though. I gotta say, he's got another one out there. And he gets it. He really understands the simplicity, but yet the revolutionary nature of Bitcoin. You just got to be a long-term thinker. You got to hold it and then don't worry about it. He's not out there. He's on vacation right now on some beach in Britain. He doesn't care about the price. He's on vacation. That's the attitude you got to take. You can't worry about the fiat price. And he really gets it. He talks about other content creators who really get it. But again, the content creators who really get it, who understand 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin, the value of your wealth in Bitcoin, to not go spastic over the freaking fiat price of Bitcoin, that there are going to be there are going to be so many days like this in the future and in the past. We're in the 20%. We're in the minority. Again, there's your, we talk about the 20%ers and the 80%ers. We're always going to be outnumbered. The long-term thinkers are always going to be outnumbered by the 80%ers, by the impulsive people, by the people who want to know why the price, valuing their wealth in fiat and why the price dipped this much. Again, it's because of Cal Ripken, what he did. Yeah, that's why. And so, so get used to it. And again, it's the 80%ers, the same people are going to complain. Why are the 20%ers? Why do they have so much Bitcoin and it's the year 2024 and I don't? Because again, they don't have any long-term memories either, that they were complete buffoons back in 2018 and 2015. That's why they don't have any Bitcoin, because they were trying to play trading games all day long And what's it get you in the long run when you're playing trading games all day long? And then what's it get you in the long run when you just have a strong hand? You're going on beach vacations in Britain, or you're going back to Baltimore to celebrate Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Ask for forgiveness on Yom Kippur, and then go to Santiago afterwards. Well, I mean, for us, who cares? We're going on with our lives. We're not playing these trading games anyway. So again, let's check out. Speaking of D, so that would be UK Bitcoin Master. He's doing it on D Live. I linked to that below. Andy Hoffman, speaking of D Live, he's on D Live also. He had an interview with the dude who I guess a guy who reached out to me, who watches these videos. Patrick Ulrich, I think that's how you say his name, to talk about D Live. Now, I haven't watched it yet, but I know Andy always does a good video, and Patrick's a nice guy and everything. He's talking about the Steam It aspect of D Live, and it's something to check out. It's linked to below. And then what do we else here? Here. We got, speaking of altcoins, look at this. I'm combining everything here. So yeah, we talked about, obviously, D Live is powered by Steam, which is an altcoin. But speaking of another altcoin, and you know what? I actually forgot something. Wow. The Bprivate thing. I'll mention that in a second too. Because that's another altcoin. I don't know how I skipped over that in this. And Matt Odell says, at scale, get Honey Miner's impact on altcoins will be interesting. You run the app on your computer and it automatically mines the most profitable alt, then dumps it on the market for Bitcoin. You get more. So 1, you get more Bitcoin. 2, Bitcoin price increases. 3, altcoin price decreases. So this is something called Get Honey Miner. And again, I linked to this below. I might have heard about this in the past, but now I see Matt Odell is talking about it, and he explains it in 3 easy steps. Now, I am not a guy who messes with anything to do with mining anything. I just buy and hold Bitcoin. It's that simple. But I know there's some of you freaks out there that got mining this and mining that. Hey, maybe it's worth looking into this Get Honey Miner thing if you can mine an altcoin and then it turns into Bitcoin for you, just like that. Now, this a recurring theme on this show today has been turn your altcoin into Bitcoin. That's awesome. Whether it be Steam, whether it be through cross-chain atomic swaps, which will come about soon. But where is this Bprivate thing I wanted to mention here? I want to get this right, because there is a Bprivate tweet that I linked to, and unfortunately, I have totally erased it from my notes. Unbelievable. Well, I'm going to go from what I remember, and it's about the privacy. People are worried about the privacy of Bitcoin. So this dude on Twitter, who is like a Bprivate developer, says that he's in September. He was kind of vague about it, and you can check out the tweet below. That is actually linked to below. I just didn't write the whole thing out. He says that you're going to be able to, with something, and I don't know how centralized it is. And again, if it's centralized, it'll get shut down eventually. But you just, if you want to send your Bitcoin, you can send it as Bprivate. It just automatically changes so that it's a private transaction. And there's people out there that want that automatic privacy without having to go to an exchange to say they bought, to have it on record that they bought a private coin, be it Monero, Bprivate, Zcash. So there's something out there this dude is working on. It is linked to below. It turns your Bitcoin right into, you send the Bitcoin and it gets sent to somebody as a Bprivate. I don't know. All right. So check out the link section below so you can actually see that and see what I meant to say. I think I covered everything there. There are going to be some square. If you're watching this on repeat, click on the squares. I wanted to mention, and that'll get you to my old videos. Get your Trezor linked to below, your T-shirts. There are all sorts of discount codes below. Again, this is my last full day in Spokane. It has been quite a Western excursion since I was last in Baltimore. I mean, I was in Alberta, I was in Boise, I was here in Spokane, in California also. I'm probably forgetting places. But I did want to point out, in terms of the United States, because there are a lot of Americans watching this right now, that Spokane and Boise are definitely cities of the next decade. There'll be a lot of people moving to both cities for various reasons. They're safe. I mean, they're a little different, but they're pretty close in location, relatively speaking. We'll see. We'll see if technology. It seems like Boise State in Boise's got a big grip on the technology. They bring technology to Boise. I didn't get to see Gonzaga. Yeah, it's good. That's what's here, right? The Bulldog. That's here. I didn't get to see it in Spokane, but again, I just wanted to point out here. I mean, we're at the end of the show here. Spokane, Boise. You've been very nice to me. Very nice people. Bigger Bitcoin community in Boise, definitely. But these are in the 2020s. These are going to be cities you're hearing about. I guess the hipsters will be here soon enough if they're not already here. And all those people from California. They're already come to Boise. I know that. Boise, excuse me. Maybe a lot of Seattle refugees will come here to Spokane real soon. Okay, I'm Adam Meister, Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like this video, share this video, check out the notes section below. I will see you when I'm back in Baltimore, and it will be later. Have a strong hand, and I'll say hi to everybody in the chat. Bye.